Hi everybody, this is Mr. Jared. I thought I would make some short videos that were apart from the assignments just to get people kind of acquainted to things. Since this is an all asynchronous course, I thought I would just kind of walk you through as if I was sitting down on a computer right next to you and kind of showing you around. So that's what this video is. This one is just introducing the very most basic things about Photoshop, finding it and getting onto it. Okay, so I have my computer opened up. I'm gonna go down here to the Windows menu. When I click on that, Photoshop is under A for Adobe Photoshop 220. It's not under P for Photoshop. So I click on that. There's a couple Adobe programs. You want Photoshop. And the first time you log in, or the first time this program kicks on, you'll probably get a Google student login, which you'll do. I've already done it because I've been on here a bunch of times, but you should only have to do it the first time. And then there's all these like welcome screens. Mine's set up to show the most recent projects I've looked at, but there's button create new and open. This will be different for each person. For each assignment you have. I'm just going to create a new one so I can introduce you. You can choose a predetermined size, or you can define how big your image is over here, the size. And 300 is generally a good resolution for now. We'll have a unit that just talks about resolution and how to determine the exact resolution you need. So for now, we won't worry about it too much. This is just a general default size. I'm going to hit create down here. And here's pretty much what your Photoshop will look like. I'm actually going to try to make it look like even more. So yours might look more like this when you get in. And there's just a whole bunch of overwhelming stuff. So I'm going to run through it with you and how to set it up so it's not so overwhelming. At the very top, there's these menus. And when you click on one, you see more things. And if there's a little arrow, you'll get more choices. So there's ones for, a lot of these you've probably seen in programs before, like File, Save, or Edit, Copy, Paste, things like that. But we have ones for like Layer, Type, Filters, things like that. Those are at the top. Next up, this is the window, the image window, where you will work with your images. Over on the left, there is this thing called a toolbar. These are all the tools we'll eventually learn. And under some of them, you see a little arrows under each one. If you hold down the mouse over one of them, it'll show you even more hidden tools that are related to that tool under here. They group them. You'll also, if you hold the mouse over something, it'll show you, let me try it again. It shows you, explains what it does. It shows you a mini example of how to use it. And it shows you the shortcut key. In this case, if you hit the letter I, you get the eyedropper tool. So we'll learn what all these are and how to use them. Down near the bottom, you see a couple colors. The one that looks like it's on the top or the front is the foreground color. If you hover over it, it'll tell you foreground. And back here's the background. And if I click on it, I can get the approximate color neighborhood I want with this part. And then I can choose exactly the color I want here. And there's that. If you know the numeric number of your color, then you can enter that here, or the web number here. Hit OK. And now the foreground color is the color I just selected. And there's way more ways to do that using the eyedropper or shortcuts. I just want you to know that these are the tools. Here's the file menu. And this is the image window. The next thing I want to show you is up here. This is like a tab. It says Untitled 1, 50% RGB 8. I'll get into RGB 8 later. 50% is how much this is zoomed in or out. So this is 50%, its view, zoomed out 50%. And this is the name of it. We haven't saved it or named it yet. If I went to open a new file, under File, Open, here is my social emotional learning photo. We won't use that one. It's kind of silly. All right, so if I open up this little baby Yoda pixel art, now you'll see there's two tabs. This one says new pixel.gif. This is the Yoda picture here. If I click over here, it takes me back to this one. So they're just tabs. And if I hit X, it'll close it. Do I want to save? No, I don't. Above it, this is called the options menu. This will change depending on which tool you choose. So if I choose to type, and I go to type something, you can see that all these options are now a little different. I can choose the type color, and it works the same way. You can choose the font, the size, the style, whether or not it's vertical or horizontal text. But if I switch to a paintbrush, you'll see it changes to a whole new set of options. I can choose what type of brush, what size, how soft it is, what mode it's working on. We'll talk about modes later. Opacity is how see-through something is. How much it's spaced when it comes out. There's all sorts of tools. So this will change. The options will change with every tool. The last thing I'll show you today is over here. There's a whole mess of things. These are called panels, and they have their own little tabs like these do. And there's so many of them. And there's way more than this under Window. All of these under Window have their own tab. So if I go to Character, now here's a new tab right here with Paragraph actually. And those are stored actually in here as well. I could drag it over here too. I could set it over here. It's very customizable. So you can set up a workspace exactly the way you want. For now, in the beginning, this is probably very confusing. So what I would do is I would go to these we could get rid of most of these. If I right click on this, I can close, and now it's gone. I can also click on these lines and say close. I left click on this. If you ever close something that you don't want to and you want to get it back, that's okay. I'm going to close everything. Oops, now I don't have anything. I have properties. Let's say I accidentally closed that too. And I'll just close everything. Uh-oh, now I don't have any panels open. You can always open them back up under Window and choose the ones you want. One of the main ones we need is layers. It even has its own hotkey, which is F7. This is going to be one of the main layers you need. These are important too, but for now we don't need them. So you can make things less overwhelming by closing out panels that you don't need. And layers, as you'll find out in the first assignment, this is like you can stack images on top of each other so they don't destroy or change the pixels in a way that if you had to fix something, you wouldn't have to start all the way over. You can keep them separate and protected on different layers and do things to them. So if I have a background of, let's see, I'll open up my Baby Yoda again. Let's say this is my background. I'm going to paste it here, and I'm going to make it big. And you'll learn how to make things big and mess with them all you want. Now all I see is Baby Yoda. I don't see the text. I don't see the white. And if you look, it's because it's on the top layer. If you imagine 3 pieces of paper stacked on a desk, you're only going to see the top paper if it's big. So you can drag it down to the middle of the pile, and now we can see this lettering too. And we can move it around. It's on its own separate layer. We could even make it see-through. We can go down here and click this half moon cookie thing and do an effect to it. We can change the color of it. There we go. So we can change, now it's kind of a transparent purple bunch of text. So this doesn't look like a good image, but I just wanted to show you some of the things layers can do. If it gets confusing, we can turn certain layers on and off. As you start to get lots of layers, we can organize them more by naming them, rearranging them. You can, if you have a bunch, you can click on this folder. It's called a group. We can name the group whatever you want. I'm going to call this whatever. You can tell that this isn't a very helpful example because I'm not really organized. I'm making this more confusing. But if you had 20 or 30 layers, you'd want to group them by section or whatever makes sense at the time. But you can put layers into the groups. And now, now it looks a little cleaner, and I have all these layers are now grouped and separated from the background. This will make more sense later when you get on the layer assignment, because you'll have a lot of layers. As you go on, this is one of the main panels we'll use. And that's all I'm going to do on this video. When you're done, I mean, you can go up to here, you can file, save things, you can quit. But I'm going to close this. I'm not going to save what I just did. And I'm going to X out, and that's how you leave the program. So I hope this little introduction helped you. I just was kind of winging it here, but hopefully that was just a very easygoing introduction.